Hi, welcome to Moments of Elevation. I have for me today Dr. Tracey Thomas, who is a clinical therapist as well as an educator. And we're going to talk about something that is so vital right now because of the state of the country, because of the state of our environments. And it's important for us to understand about self care. What are you doing to care for yourself? It's not being selfish, but it's self preservation. And so, Dr. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us so that we can have this conversation.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to talk to you about whatever you need.
Well, I tell you, we need help. That's just keep it real. We need help. Okay. So,
Okay.
well, first let's start with the basics. So, what is mental health?
Well, mental health really is all encompassing. So it's the way we think. It's the way our emotions react to our bodies. In a psychological sense, it's about social. It's about social well-being. It's about physical well-being. It is all encompassing, and many people don't realize how strong or how important our mental health is.
Mhm.
Because from if our mental health is not well, it affects our body, it affects our relationships, it affects how we do at work, it affects every aspect of our life, even finances.
And I think that's what's so important is that there's this connection. It's like connecting the dots, right? One element actually touches another area that touches another area. And then you have like this domino effect where you literally can, I guess the worst case scenario could possibly happen where you literally are just falling apart.
Yes, you can literally make yourself sick.
Hmm.
You have heart attacks and migraines, everything. Our entire life can end if we don't take care of our mental health.
And typically, it's funny because we're great at taking care of other people. We are great at helping other people in their situations, and I am, a person of that too because I'm a caregiver. And so you're great at taking care of other people, but you don't make the time to stop and literally check yourself and say, okay, am I taking care of myself? And I think a lot of times we try to mask what's happening and, in that assumption of I'm okay, I'll be
Mhm.
fine.
Absolutely. What the problem really is, more than anything, is that it's never been okay not to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our responsibilities rely on us to be okay. And it's especially true with females, with mothers, because when does a mom have time to be anything but okay?
Mm-hmm. Taking care of everybody. And
Yes,
not even getting like that 10 minutes to get into the bathroom and let Calgon take you away, right? Because then you feel like you're just not taking care of your family for those 10 minutes.
right. And it's considered to be, in some cases, selfish. Some people think that they're being selfish by not taking care, by taking that 10 minutes to be away. But then again, you know, when you're a mom, you've never stopped being a mom. That baby is following you into that bathroom.
Yeah, right? Knocking on the door. What are you doing?
Can I come in? And that baby doesn't stop being a baby, even as a teenager, as a young adult. Hey, mom, can I get this? Can I get that? I'm in the bathroom.
Minutes, just give me 10 minutes. I can remember how many times I've screamed that. Can I just get a few moments?
Exactly. And if you take those few moments for yourself, then you're letting something else lack. Something else is falling.
Mhm.
And that's that guilt that women and even men who are either single dads or men who have find themselves working excessively, they need to understand I need those few moments for me
Mhm.
to get myself back to where I need to be.
And so, and if we look at where we are today, this is really, it's been compounded. I mean, this is, like you had stated earlier, we are literally in a perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not getting the 10 minutes. We're not getting, the time that we need for ourselves. And so it's affecting other things. And so, what is it that you're seeing, that you're hearing, that you've researched? What is going on with us now?
Well, between the COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
we've got race relations that is completely out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think maybe even some of it started and now it's in your face. And so we have to deal with it. We've got people who do not trust law enforcement. And now that's compounded because of all of the shootings. We've got, this is a big year, presidential election for many people. So that's huge for people. And then you've got children who haven't been in school for 6 months. And you've got parents who are now worried about either not having a job or have lost a job. And also you've got parents who are worried about, if I send my child to school, is my child going to come home sick? And then I've got to worry about, now I've got to take off of work and I don't have insurance, or if I do have insurance, I have already been off for months at a time because of the fact that I've been at home with my child. And you're just looking at, there's so many issues going on right now. And that 5 minutes that you need for yourself, you don't have anymore, because now you're the mom or the dad, you're the worker at home. If you get to work remotely, you've got your children at home and you've got to be the teacher as well.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you've still got to take care of your household.
Mm-hmm.
And you're worried about finances. How do I pay my bills?
Yeah, that's a lot. That is like this litany, that you literally have to turn the paper over and say continued on the other side.
Exactly. And so to ask somebody to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even 15 minutes will require you to either go to bed later or get up earlier, and you're already exhausted.
That's a lot. So for my company, I talk a lot about how to accomplish your goals, how
Mhm.
to shift your paradigm, how to rewrite your narrative, how to have a mind shift. And, you think about trying to do those things, because that's literally what we want to do every day. We want to keep moving forward. We want to be progressive. But it's hard to try to put that into a category when you're still looking at, I've got so much stuff going on inside my head and, inside my body, that just seems like it's so unimportant right now.
Exactly. But it's even more important.
Mm-hmm.
It's more important right now to take that 5 minutes, because there have been many, many studies that shows if you just take that 5 or 10 or 15 minutes to yourself, the relaxation time, the downtime, you're actually more productive and you get more done when you take your time. You take the time to say, okay, I need this me time. I can make me a priority, because without me, who else will there be?
That is so very important. And I think the other thing with that also is that, so for me in the morning, I have a routine,
Mm-hmm.
right, where I spend 5 minutes, I just meditate, and I spend 5 minutes on devotion. And then I feel as though I'm better able to focus and have clarity. Now, there are some days, and I'm just going to be honest, where I'm like, I just don't do it. I just
Mm-hmm.
haven't, you wake up a little later, or the dog is like, okay, I got to go out right now. And so there's something that breaks the pattern.
Right.
And so now you find that the day, and I find oftentimes if that happens to me, that the day seems to just get away from me and I feel overwhelmed, like I'm catching up. I feel like I'm catching up.
Right. There is never that time. Your schedule's off.
Mm-hmm.
And with your schedule being off, it happens to be your whole body is off.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be the type taking that moment to reset and start over again. So even those days that I get up a few minutes late, well, I'll take 5 minutes in the middle of my day, turn off my phone, do everything that I need to do so I can reset my day, because you're not going to be as productive as you want to be. You're not going to be able to mentally stay focused the way you need to be.
Hmm.
So it's going to be more important. Okay, I got up later. Something happened. I went outside and realized that it was pouring and it was supposed to be a sunny day today. I need to take that moment to say, okay, I'm going to sit in my car for 5 minutes, because that 5 minutes is not going to break your day. It's not going to end your day. What it's going to actually do is help your day.
I think that's important. That's that mind shift, right? That's
Yes.
the mind shift that we have to have. So we talked earlier about parents and about parents being home, and I've seen so many things on television now because the kids are back in school. They've got this hybrid, they've got online learning, they've got face-to-face learning. And so I saw something where it was so sad, but it was the kids in the lunchroom, and it was probably 10 of them, and they were little youngsters, and they were so far apart that you have to think about, what is this doing to them? And so as a parent, how do you help your child understand this?
As a parent, you just have to talk to them. I mean, and you've got to, there's so many cute little videos where you've got kids saying, I can't see you because it's COVID. Let's make COVID go away. And they understand if you just talk to them, because no matter what, kids understand a whole lot more than adults give them credit for. They are very, very resilient. And then we live in the age of technology. It's like, okay, the same way an adult can create Zoom parties, to mingle with their friends, create Zoom parties or some type of FaceTime parties. Man, I can't tell you how many apps there are, parties for these children to get together, because these children, all they need is the social skills. And I know that's a big thing, huge with doctors right now, is kids aren't getting the socialization that they needed. Well, we can create socialization through technology. And that's not just sitting there playing a game. Let's talk while we're playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to playing checkers online or something of that nature. Let's play chess online. Let's have some type of communication online for these children. Because if an adult is struggling with all of this, you can only imagine what a child is, because an adult is barely getting their minds wrapped around it. A child is getting their minds even less wrapped around it. But we're expecting them to act in a certain way, as if everything's fine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not.
And I think that takes us back to what we initially talked about, was that masking of I'm okay,
Mm-hmm.
when in
Yes, exactly.
reality you're not.
Mm-hmm. And that's when I'm sorry, go
Okay.
ahead. And that's when we need to reach out. We need to remember that it's okay to say, hey, best friend, I'm having a bad day today. Can we talk about this today?
Mhm.
I'm struggling today. It's okay.
And I think that's important. And that was going to be my next question, was how do you reach out if you find like if you feel as though you're drowning? Because I mean, some days, if you watch television, and I always talk to people about not watching as much television because it's emotionally draining.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not feeling okay, what should you do? What are the steps that you do? I know you talked about calling up a friend.
Yes, calling up a friend. We can journal. We can do yoga. You can do Pilates. You can exercise. You can color. Coloring is always fun. You can dance. It's anything, it's doing creative, getting your mind out of the space that it's in and putting it in a different space. And if there's nobody and there's nothing that's working, then it's time to seek professional help, because we don't want to spiral. Because once we spiral out of control, it's a whole lot harder to get out of it. And it doesn't take long. And most people don't realize it only takes 6 months to change our brains. And we are coming up to 6 months of COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important for people to understand that reaching out and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's literally, I think you said this earlier, it's a sign of strength to
Mm-hmm.
be able to say, listen, I need help.
Right. Because it is. And I think that is just one of those things that was started many, many, many years ago. I don't know how many years ago where weakness was seen by asking for help.
Hmm.
It, and that is one of those mind shifts that people need to wrap their minds around. It's not, because it's easier to suffer in silence than to reach out to someone and say, I'm not doing well.
Hmm.
I need to consult my doctor. I need to reach out and say, hey, I'm struggling, because this is not, and I'm sure they are too. This is not a time that anybody wants to live. We need to collect our resources and be there for each other. And if you need to, have those virtual parties, and also start journaling, because this is a time that hopefully, prayfully, our children will never have to live after this is over.
Hmm.
And maybe, hopefully, prayfully, it'll be another 100 years or longer before something like this happens. But that journal might be the what is needed for the next generation that has to experience this, to know it's okay.
And I love the journaling concept, because so many things are being birthed from this pandemic. I mean, gosh, we think about the businesses that are closing, but there are a lot of businesses that are being birthed from this. People that have just been created, and the word of 2020, right, is pivot. People that have been able to pivot, have found resources and have been able to implement those into a business idea, and have been, really, really successful at that. And I also think about, if there were some things that an individual can do, and I know you talked about yoga, you talked about journaling. One of the things that I love to do from this segment is to leave people with something that they can immediately implement. They can walk away from this and go, okay, I'm putting that into action right now. So, what would be your top three? What would be your top three things that a person can just walk away from this with and go, I can do that right now, right here where I am. I can begin my method of self care.
Well, my top three. One is create a schedule
Mm-hmm.
and build in that 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day. But not only build it in one time a day, build it in 2 or 3 times a day. Because if you miss the first one, there's always a second one, and there's always the third one. But if you can do all three, even better. That would be my number one. The second one I would say is create a mantra, because when we start getting down and feeling like there's no end or no hope in sight, we have to remind ourselves of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
and not who we've been conditioned to think we are, but who we really are. All of the positives, all of the wonderful gifts that we have to share with others. And the third thing is find something creative that you can do. And it doesn't have to be every day, but be able to do something creative at least once a week.
I love that. I have, when you talked earlier about coloring books, I have an affirmation coloring book.
Mhm.
That I literally, I go in and you just like you doodle, and then, you're reading it and it's got affirmations in it. And it just, when you finish, it just puts you in a much nicer, a much nicer mood. You feel a lot lighter,
Mhm.
so I think that that's just huge. So thank you so much for coming to Moments of Elevation and sharing with us. So if you were to have something to your parting message, what would you like people to know about self-care?
Self care. My party message to everyone would be, you are the most important person. That's it. You're the most important person.
There you go.
And that would be it, because without you, you can't do anything.
There you go. I love it. You've just been listening to Dr. Tracey Thomas on the benefits of self-care and the benefits of understanding how to have a better mental health. Mental health is so important, especially in the times that we're in now. And so thank you for joining me. I am always so excited when I can come to you and share something that's going to help you get mental, get motivated, and get moving. So definitely share this video, like the video, join us on YouTube. This will also be housed on YouTube at Cheryl Mays. You can also find me on Instagram at Cheryl Mays, I'm sorry, at Rise and Shine CF. And then you can also find us on Facebook at riseandshine.success. So thank you for joining us. Take care of yourself. Stop, take that 5 minutes, 5 minutes. That's all it is, 5 minutes, 3 times a day. And then you find that you are much lighter and you are in a much better place to be able to tend to others. So have an amazing day, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, too.